This conference will now be recorded.
All right. I'll call the meeting of the Town of Cottage Grove Plan Commission to order. It's 7 p.m. on April 22nd. We have a quorum present. The meeting was properly posted. We'll take a look at the minutes from the last meeting.
Didn't see anything. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Troy to approve the minutes as presented. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, public concerns. The public's opportunity to speak to the Plan Commission about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. Yes.
Couple of different things very quickly. One was that I handed out a pamphlet on farmland preservation. It is a very complex program, lots of different aspects to it. Basically, a farmer can typically get $10 an acre. That is up from $5 an acre for participating in it. There is a special form. There's a $4,200 a year cap. This is a state program, so you do have to take any credit that you receive and report it as income on your federal stuff, which is kind of stinky of the feds. The program goes on and they come out and theoretically inspect your land every 4 years. They're very concerned about animal nutrient and commercial fertilizer nutrient. And if you're having a problem with something, they give you time to fix it. So it's definitely a beneficial program. You don't have to be in a farmland preservation county, which is most of Dane County is. You can also have an individual agreement with them, and basically the rules are the same. I talked to a guy, Eric, over in the ASCS office on Finnold. So that's one thing. We wanted, Dave Whitty is here. We wanted to give you an update on the lanes between Hope Road and Whittywood Lane. We have been making great progress. I think if you've driven by, you saw that we had a forestry mulcher, which turned out to be a great thing to being able to figure out. We have the Trans-Canadian big time gas line figured out and located. We did have Steve Tesmer of Eckmeyer come out and do 10 perk tests, and everything is conventional or low-rise mound, they call them, but everything perked just fine. And we have entered, we do have a design for 10 lots done by Dave Reesop, and we have preliminary staking. We've hired Veer Becker to do the engineering, and we're coming up with concepts on that. So we're moving along pretty dang quickly, but it's not done yet. Last but not least is the land north of Hope Road. There's a 30-some acre chunk of upland there that we've asked to have into the neighborhood development area designation. We are working on that. We've hired again an engineering firm to come up with 2 or 3 or 4 different conceptual plans. I've got a few ideas myself. And so we're working on that. I noticed that there will be more discussion by your planner on that, but we understood at the last meeting that we would have a little time. We aren't done. We're trying for something great. We've hired an engineering firm, as I said, and we're making progress, but it's not done yet.
How long do you anticipate your legal issues with the county to take?
We've also hired Matt Fleming, an attorney, to do that. We had a progress report from him just yesterday. And it's clearly a legal thing that he and the county will duke it on out. And I would guess that that'll start serious next week. So you guys have just the best comprehensive plan. You define RDUs as an ability. The wetland agreement talks about rights. There is a legal differentiation between ability and rights. And this is your township. It's not the Wetland Preservation Township. It's the town in Cottage Grove, and you have your definition. We feel, as does the, what do I know about it? But the attorney feels that we're rock solid, and from what the corporate counsel person from 4 years ago said, we have great feelings that we'll get through this. But we do need a little time. Oh, and on the land, we have started with the county on the land rezoning between Whittywood and Hope. We are on the agenda for June 23rd. I've spoken with Ms. Bannigan here, and we will have all that stuff in for the zoning. As soon as the engineers get the preliminary plat stuff together. The single biggest issue there, of course, is the stormwater. We're trying to incorporate that more of a lawn fashion, so it kind of looks nice alongside the highway or alongside Hope Road. And again, we're trying to make things look really cool out there. So, but we are moving ahead on that also.
So you know the deadline right here, it's the first
Yeah,
Wednesday.
first of week,
Yeah,
first is on the 2nd of May or something, so,
yeah, the first Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah, we'll make that easy. Well, thank you.
Travis from Cleary is online and he has his hand up for public concerns too.
Who was that, Kim?
Travis Leeser from Cleary Buildings.
Oh, sure. Hello,
Hey,
Travis.
good afternoon, board and chairman. I talked to Kim a while ago about potentially scheduling a special board meeting, or not board meeting, but planning commission meeting to look at two different petitions I have. I'm trying to get one of which to satisfy a contingency so they can close in the land. And my request, I didn't see it on the agenda, which is okay. That's why I'm here. Looking to see if there's a possibility that we can get this moved up before the May 27th agenda into sometime mid-May if possible. And hold a meeting for the Frankie's property and the Element Lawn Care property on North Star Road and Pondella Lane, if that's a possibility or not.
Mark, are you at the point of review for both of those that you can make a recommendation?
I haven't reviewed the latest plan submittal, so honestly, I don't remember what we have submitted.
Yeah, they were submitted, but
There were comments on both of them, Travis, and I don't know if you've addressed my comments on both of them or not.
I can send you send the plans that are revised to you. I believe I did a while ago, but I can resend them again to you tomorrow morning. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I just don't recall, especially for I get the two mixed up, for the southern one, getting a revised set of plans. Yeah, so Travis, I'd be reluctant for the plan commission to agree to schedule a special meeting for a project that I don't have a revised set of plans for even yet.
Have we
Okay,
even? Go ahead, Travis.
The last where we kind of left this off before was that we needed to apply for both properties were for a conditional use with the county, which we have, and they've both accepted both of which that are going in front of the board. They won't go in front of the board until I believe mid-June. Again, I can submit the plans back to you again, if you'd like tomorrow morning. That's not a problem. I'm not asking for you guys to try to make a motion on this in like a week. I would just prefer to try to do something before May 27th if possible. If that's a week or two before, that would be great. If not,
You're just
Yeah.
looking at the design review so you can get started on buildings and, is that right?
correct, correct. I'm not correct. Yep, correct.
Usually we like to do design review and the conditional use at the same time because so much of it overlaps.
And
I'm
was,
open to whatever. I'm good for whatever you do.
The road isn't done, the road isn't done, so there couldn't be anything going on up on the upper parcel until that gets dedicated.
If you don't mind me asking, I know they were working on it a few months ago. What do they have left?
I had checked on it. I mean, nothing really happened through the winter. Dan said they were out there the last couple of days and we haven't done a test roll. I don't know exactly what stage it's at, but I mean, I know we haven't done a test roll yet.
plus the fact the radiuses on the corners were wrong. That had to be
That's
redone.
down on Pondella. Yeah,
Yeah.
that still needs to be done too. So none of the roads have been dedicated.
So what you're telling me is it doesn't do us any good to try to expedite this and get this, is what you're trying to tell me.
Or less.
Yeah, I do not have revised plans for Frankie's. All I have is plans from February. Travis, got you comments. Basically, they were the same set of comments for both. You did respond with a revised set of plans a few weeks ago for Blazik, but I have nothing for Frankie's.
Okay, I'll send them. That's fine. I can send them back over. The one that's Frankie's is already closed in the lot, and they've already. That's not really that big of an issue. The Blazik one, they're trying to close in a contingency to buy the lot from. I believe it's Volheim's. I'm not sure who the seller is, but we've delayed, not on your guys' end, just sort of to clarify, but we've pushed back the contingency a few months, and the buyer is getting a little bit nervous. So I'm just trying to ease him a little bit and try to facilitate this. I'm not so worried about the Frankies. I can just wait on Frankies until the 27th. If I can wait on both until the 27th, if it's up to your guys' advisement. But the Frankies one I'm not worried about. The Element Lawn Care I am.
Just so I understand and make sure I'm communicating back, that northern lot cannot have a building permit issued on it until the road is completed.
Correct.
And so if the road isn't done, that seems to be the critical path right now.
I don't disagree that I can still get through the design side of stuff, and I can get my state submittal plans submitted at that point, and I can get a lot of stuff done before I start to build. I'm just trying to satisfy his contingency so they can close in the lot. That's all.
I hear you.
So did you say that your CUPs are scheduled at the county?
Correct. Correct.
What are those CUP numbers? Do you know?
I'm looking at. Let me look here from. I actually had a meeting with Rachel on both of them, and everything was fine. Let me look at. So the conditional use permit on Element Lawn Care is CUP 2708, and the CUP for Frankie's is. She did not include a number. However,
I don't see 2708 on their docket yet. So I'm looking at something wrong here, but usually you can look on their.
I'm just
site.
looking at what she actually sent me. I'll read the email quickly for you. Is Dear Travis, thanks for submitting a conditional use permit. Your conditional use permit number is 2708. The petition is scheduled for public hearing before the Dane County Land and Water Regulation, June 23rd of 2026.
Okay.
So we understand that the conditional use permits won't be accepted until then. However, the buildings we could start on before that, if possible.
How can you start on buildings if you don't have a CUP?
Well, we would,
You can start at design and everything else.
Oh, design purpose, yes, but
I think that's what he's trying to do, is get us all the design
No,
stuff.
I can start building the buildings because the conditional use permits for outside storage, not the buildings.
So if they're comfortable with the risk of not knowing whether they're gonna get a CUP for outdoor storage, they
I've
could build.
made that very well aware, yes.
But just keep in mind that if that CUP is at the county in June, you're gonna wanna have that at the town in May, so you have town action by the time it gets to the county.
Correct.
So you're gonna wanna apply for both at the same time at the town, the CUP and the design review.
Correct.
And to try to get that all in at the May meeting. I'm like, I haven't seen it be sent to me yet here. They usually send them to me and I see some correspondence about 2708, but not the actual email you just described. So I don't know if they just haven't sent that. They're a little bit behind up there, but after Roger Lane retired, they're scrambling just a bit.
Yeah.
So that could be, but it also doesn't show up on their Legistar site.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've made this applicant very aware of the conditional use permit. The conditional use permit on both properties, regardless, is outdoor storage. The buildings are permitted. And everything, the outside storage on both properties is what the conditional use permit is for specifically.
So do you need a special meeting or no?
I would prefer one on the element, but if you guys are saying no, that it's up to the discretion of the board. Obviously, I can't make that happen. That's up to you guys. I mean, I can facilitate whatever I need to facilitate in whatever manner you need me to do it. But ultimately, it's up to them. So, and I just appreciate you guys hearing me out. That's all.
given all the circumstances, I would not be inclined to do a special meeting. We could all take care of it during the May normal meeting.
And if you had a special, he's got to pay for it.
True, but it sounds like that he's willing to do that regardless, but I don't see that.
So then I
If there-
guess just make sure that I have absolutely everything by the first Wednesday in May.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see any other hands up or anything for special, for public concerns, so I think you can move on.
Okay. Next item, Craig Slager, petitioner, Barnsdale LLC, property owner, 3432 County Road N, seeking rezone of 5.5 acres from RM 15, general commercial / limited commercial to heavy commercial with deed restrictions to extend existing contractor business and accommodate surrounding Irestone Commercial Park. We've got Craig's application, the map. Mark has offered lots of insight on this.
Great. So you've got something inked in with Houston. Right.
What you have in front of you, I've been working alongside Houston's the last 2 years to draw
As far as,
in the lines. What you're asking me, do the lines match up with their development plans?
no, I mean, as far as purchase.
We need a draft CFM to finalize the purchasing agreement. And as I understand it, I got to get the zoning approval before I get the CSM approved. That's the next step in the process. So
And what were you going to heavy commercial? what were your thoughts on what we're gonna store outside?
Nothing different than we already are now. The whole purpose for the heavy commercial rezone is because the entire Ironstone development is heavy commercial, and it just seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
That zoning would be the same as everything else. So
What I did like to see is that it looks like you're gonna expand.
Oh, what?
They're gonna expand. You're
Oh.
gonna put up another
that
building.
is the plan. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like you're changing it heavy commercial to market the property.
No.
No, plan is for Paul Davis to put an addition on. And we have a dumpster outside and some small other things, but
So that'll be all screened.
yep. Very familiar with the deed restrictions, and it's not an issue.
Mark, how do you differentiate, like say Craig has a whole bunch of employees that have company vehicles that come and go on a regular basis. I know you mentioned in here about the vehicles and outside storage, but
That's,
how does coming and going type vehicles versus,
Working at the site.
that's considered parking.
okay,
The vehicles that come and go are parked, vehicles
okay,
rather than stored stuff. And it can get gray over time, not necessarily with them, but in other locations where a vehicle basically stays on the site forever.
I see,
Is used for storage, or signage or whatever.
okay,
But, vehicles moving in and out on a daily or weekly basis would just be considered parking and parking lot, not
Okay.
a storage.
And Craig, you got your own system, sewer system?
Yes.
It's all mine, yeah.
Yeah, it appears that conceptual plans are, to kind of go it alone, so to speak, that this site would develop independently.
Okay.
The one, opportunity that this creates, assuming the Ironstone project goes forward, is to relocate the access to the new street east off of, yeah.
and I think that's, because that was brought up with one of the meetings I had with County Highway about they got wind of, well, the whole, that big road intersection and so on and so forth, and with the scores that the potential for Paul Davis to hook up on Theodore Lane on the new proposed road, that they would probably gonna write you a letter and say, we'd like you to give up Highway N access and just come off of Theodore, which we'd let you guys fight that out as far as,
For what it's worth, I'd like to do the same thing. So one of my drivers almost got T-boned just this week coming out of that driveway. So the sooner we can get access to the new road, the better for our
Oh, sure.
employees. So
Yeah, they're just, we're not talking about the Ironstone development directly, but they're still kind of working with the DOT on traffic impact analysis, a lot of back and forth. I've been down this road before. It's a while, and I think, I don't want to say, you've actually been very patient, Craig, but I think the idea is you want to move forward with your project and not necessarily be tethered to how long it takes Ironstone to get through the approval process.
do you have a plan as to how big your potential outside storage may
how big of an area?
be? Yeah,
Maybe 2 dumpsters worth or something like that.
huh?
You mean like the parking area?
No, for the outdoor storage for his, like, construction fencing and some of the stuff that Mark references in here.
I didn't hear what Craig said I didn't hear what he said.
I'm not sure if it's actually marked on the, I can't recall if the designer who did like sort of the site plan, if he shows a section of outdoor storage out there, I don't recall, but it would essentially be a little bit of construction fencing and a couple of dumpsters, I would say 50 by 30, 40 by 30, something like that. I don't, no, that seems too much. 30 by 30 area, maybe, something like that. Something to house a dumpster and some construction fencing, basically.
I think you're right, Craig. I don't think it's specified in your draft, plan.
Okay, yeah, it would be out there, so I don't see it there.
Yeah,
Essentially be.
you could put it up in this
Actually, I
area.
think this little section here might be only designated for that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen, but was a concept plan included in the packet? Yeah.
It's up on the screen.
Oh, I see it.
There's a little rectangle on the east section of the parking lot there that I think might be the idea.
Runs north and
Oh,
south.
this
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thought you might be saying that.
But that would be, this would all be, you're just in the rezoning stage.
Yeah,
They would
I
have
was
to
I'm
come
just
back for
curious more than
design.
anything,
Design approval to you guys, and then if you supported the rezoning with the deed restriction and the county did, then the deed restriction would govern the screening for outdoor storage and, its location. That location seems fine relative to the covenants. But we'd have to go through a step to confirm all that after rezoning. Just continue talking if you don't mind, Steve. My suggestion is that you support this project or rezoning.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a few things that should happen before they get a building permit to put the expansion in. Obviously, I mentioned one already, design review and approval from the town. The lot, right now it's right now it's one lot, that's a acre and a half, and it's an idea for 4 acres around that. In order for a building permit to be issued, those 2 pieces of land would have to be consolidated into one lot by certified survey map. That's the second thing. And then the recording of the deed restriction would be the third thing before, they would pull the building permit. And then I have another suggested condition that this is a sort of an FYI regarding the road and the relocation, that they would in fact connect to the new road, and they may be required to close their highway N access as an FYI more than anything.
That's number 2.
That's number 2, correct?
But he could do the rezone, do all that other stuff, still use N until such time
Everything else.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
it falls into place.
there's no guarantee
Yeah.
that there's gonna be a road back there.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
suppose-
gonna happen.
suppose we can give him a rezone, he can do all this stuff, and then Ironstone doesn't happen, he still has access to N.
That's correct.
So he's
Yeah.
protected on that.
He has his egress and egress until the new road for Ironstone goes in.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if the DOT will force them to vacate the N or the county will.
Yeah.
Or not, because we haven't gotten their final word on the traffic impact analysis.
But it's a strong possibility.
It's a strong possibility, and I think there's wide agreement that it would be a good idea.
Well, it all makes sense to me.
It does. And the other thing too was, not to get too far off track on this, if access in and out of Paul Davis from N would be eliminated, it also helps the Houstons with their traffic counts because of the fact that it's not going to be directly related to, I forget how they put it, but it would help with the traffic counts. So,
Eliminates a dangerous position there too.
True.
More dangerous.
Mark. Mark has a good set of recommendations in his correspondence and pretty much framed up a motion. If the board has an idea to support this and does anybody have any other questions on it?
This is just the rezone.
Correct. Yep.
Do you have the restrictions that were dated 12/11/25 handy?
Do,
Could you read them off?
could, yeah, sure. Those weren't in the packet apparently, so, okay. So they include land use restrictions and design restrictions. The land uses would be limited to the following uses by right. Ag uses, ag accessory uses, contractor, landscaping or building trade operations, freight and bus terminals, government, institutional, religious or nonprofit community uses, indoor entertainment or assembly, indoor sales, indoor storage and repair, light industrial, off-site parking, office uses, outdoor sales, display or repair, outdoor storage, personal or professional services, transportation, utility, communication, or other use required by law. Undeveloped natural resource and open space areas, utility services, vehicle repair or maintenance, warehousing and distribution. Those would be the permitted uses. Land uses by conditional use, communication towers, and like a utility substation. There's other words on there. Residential and associated accessory uses would be prohibited. Each lot is required to have a principal building on it. And then there's the outdoor display standards. You might remember with the interest in having opportunities for display and merchandise. It reads, outdoor display of equipment and vehicles immediately available for direct sale or lease to customers is permitted without screening from public rights of way, provided that, and again, I'm not sure how much this applies to Paul Davis, but this would be a restriction. Such display area shall be clearly indicated on the site plan approved by the town. All such displays shall be located on an asphalt, concrete, or other hard surface, not including gravel, and set back at least 10 feet from all lot lines. All vehicles and equipment within such display area shall be maintained in working and operable condition. No other materials or equipment may be stored or kept in such display area unless it's first screened as an outdoor storage area. If displayed equipment or vehicles are removed from the display area, all support fixtures used to display such equipment or vehicles shall also be removed at the same time. Any temporary signage in and around the display area shall be on the vehicles or equipment being sold or leased. All lighting shall meet town requirements. No upward spot lighting is permitted. So that's for the display. And then there's finally requirements for outdoor storage. Outdoor storage of trash, scrap, pallets, recyclables, fuel tanks, and operative vehicles and materials not immediately available for direct sale or lease to customers shall be kept within outdoor storage yards that are clearly indicated on a site plan approved by the town, not within 200 feet of the rights of way of either Highway 12, 18, or Highway N. Storage areas have to be gravel or hard surfaced, fully screened from all adjacent public rights of way by buildings, landscape berms, walls, or opaque fences, chain link with slats. Don't cut it. It doesn't read that, but that's what it said. And that's it.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have one question, Mark. Not in the conditional use, but in the normal uses for heavy, there's parking. Could a business or one of the lots, let's say you had, it's a hypothetical thing, you had 30 parking stalls, you have 4 employees, you're only using 4 lots or 4 parking spaces. Could the business lease out the other spaces in the parking stalls at their, and to, like, we'll say rideshare people? Could they do that?
You're only required by, this is probably a county zoning rule, but you're only required by county zoning to have a minimum number of parking spaces.
Okay.
And as long as you're providing the minimum and keeping those minimum actually available for the business, my opinion would be that anything above the minimum could be
Could be leased,
done for that.
correct.
Lease to an adjacent owner, which is often happens. Hey, you got some extra parking. I could really use some.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. What I didn't, hearing that, I thought, well, what if it turned into a junk zone where somebody was saying, yeah, you can store your car here, and then they just end up having dead vehicle after dead vehicle after dead vehicle.
Yeah. Then it becomes a outdoor storage yard, right?
And
An
then-
illegal outdoor storage yard.
Then we're covered by that in our, just come in there and say,
It's not screened. It might not be located 200 feet from blah, blah, blah.
perfect. That's the answer to the question. Thank you.
I mean, whenever you create a outdoor gravel area or hard surfaced area, you're creating a risk that someone will do something that they're not supposed to in that area. But I guess I wonder in your scenario, Troy, what would compel someone to pave, more than they needed?
Oh, I
Because
understand.
it
It
costs
wouldn't,
money.
it wouldn't be that, it would be something that in the plans, they would have to have X minimum of, we'll say they have to have a minimum of 20 based on the size. Or maybe the business sells, whatever it is, but you only have 4 employees in this large complex. Maybe it's got some shipping and they have all these extra lots. Where they would want to lease them out. I wouldn't want it to turn into a junk place. Was there any additions onto our conditions that we should add? And I'm being totally out there with just thinking way out of the box.
If they were storing stuff there, it'd be a zoning violation.
Okay, then we're good.
I think we're good.
We're covered.
As long as the vehicles are just like we talked about earlier, are legitimately just being parked there temporarily and then they move there, it's considered a parking lot and not an outdoor storage area.
Is there a definition on temporary or duration of time?
I mean, there might be in the county zoning ordinance.
I can see over time, things happen and tenants move out and somebody might end up with excess space and
Right.
and it just becomes a permanent parking lot, so.
Illegal outdoor storage is in the top 5 issues that you deal with when you have a business park.
Yeah.
It just requires vigilance and reminder of rules and sometimes enforcement.
I'm good with it. Work with the owners.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
Craig, do you have a time frame as to when phase 1 would be done and when phase 2 would be done?
I would say that there's a slight possibility that phase 1 could happen as soon as Houston starts moving earth around there, and I'm not real sure, every time I talk to them, they seem to be a little more optimistic than reality, but I've already talked to the Houstons about having our phase 1 happen in the same time they are while they have their equipment out there. So that seems like the most logical time to do it. But if their plans continue to be stalled out, then more than likely next year would be phase 1. Phase 2 is at least 2 years out, possibly 3 years out. Phase 2 being the building addition. I do want to get the grading part done, and hopefully in conjunction with Houston's earth moving development.
Yeah, you almost have to get that pond made right at the same time. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have that fully figured out yet, exactly when all the stormwater management has to come in, but I assume some of it will, if not all of it.
Anything else? have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone. You want the parcel numbers? Do you have them? For 5.5 acre site. That'll be following up the deed restrictions and going to heavy commercial. I don't know what else I need to put in that.
You want to put those, you need those conditions of Mark's?
Yeah.
One lot.
Those are 1 and 2. Yeah. The expansion area and original site should be combined into 1 lot. Deed restrictions in line with the attached restriction dated. That's not attached here though, I guess, in our peeps, but the restrictions that were dated 12/11/25. And we just have to have the town has to obtain a design review and approval.
In the road.
And the road will eventually be tied in on the east side to Houston's project. And the entrance for N potentially would be abandoned at that time.
I'll second. Go ahead. Motion by Tom, second by Chris. And we need to have the motion right back. Okay, all right, just asking. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, discuss and consider amendments to the town's comprehensive plan. Everybody has Mark's comments.
So Mark, did you, when it comes to the town's vision, that's just a copy of it?
That's right. Yeah, I just included it in the packet. And we'll talk more about this later, but when confronted with or presented with a request to change the plan, it's important to find, have some criteria against which to evaluate that.
Yeah.
And right now, looking at, well, how does this compare to our vision for the future of our town seems the best kind of substantive basis of comparison for any comprehensive plan amendment. Yeah. So that's why I included it in the packet.
So we're discussing all these points.
Well, we can just take them one at a time, and just that way we're not jumping back and forth.
Sure.
Once we've gone through them all, we can.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Huh?
I'm happy to comment when you're ready
Yeah.
for me.
We had talked at our last meeting that, I don't recall who was making the comments, or if it was generally amongst us all, about whether or not the land across the street from the acreage that we're looking at for, that's in the neighborhood development plan, whether that would be right for development at this time. There was comments wondering if that should be not considered at this time until see how the development goes on the Woodywood side of Hope Road. And whether or not we as the Plan Commission felt that that land, as nice as it is and pristine as it is, if we want something like that to be actually developed as keeping that in its current state or near its current state, overlooking the stuff that's could never be developed. And there's no question about the ability to develop property between Hope and Woodywood, provided everything comes together. And, but again, I don't know that across the street, it's time yet.
But wasn't part of the question that we had was the amount of farmland preservation that we have in the township. Can't get below 80%, and I don't know if we've confirmed where that ticket is. Your notes here, Mark, say that if this land did get developed, it pushes down to maybe 80%. And personally, I guess I'm starting to feel more that why do we change this into a neighborhood development now when you have a neighborhood development parcel that's been there for a long time sitting? Let's get that one developed before we approve another one. Then we're not pushing on the farmland preservation side of things. If that makes sense.
Perfectly.
Yeah, and even if, when they get their stuff done, I'm not in for putting us into a neighborhood development. Now, if they wanted to have like, maybe take out the old farmhouse and then, I don't know how many splits they have, but maybe put 2 houses down low so the top can become conservation, sell it off to somebody else that wants preservation, remarket it that way. That's another option, but to, like you said, it's a pristine piece. It's only a one-time deal. It's never going to get created again. And then we're going to plug it full of houses. What does that say for our township? Not much. So I wouldn't be for putting it in now or later. I would say they could put maybe a couple houses down below if they have the splits. That's my feeling.
And if I recall correctly, you're gonna need a split for the Woodywood. When I'm referring to the Woodywood Hope development, let's just call it the Woodywood development, just for discussion purposes.
We purchased or have a contract to purchase one for that because it is in the neighborhood development, and by purchasing, and again, that is a separate organization, so purchasing is the 10, does the 10 for,
Correct.
That's from a totally third party, right?
yes,
Okay.
And it comes out of an ag preservation
Yes.
area,
yes,
like,
yes.
okay.
And they'll have to present that when they bring the rezoning application forward, and we'll verify that, and the county will, that it passes muster.
The land between Woodywood and Hope is owned by Mom's CG Farm LLC, which is a different entity than the land north of Hope Road, which is Fred H. Weedy and Sons Incorporated. So, when we're talking about the land, we also have to be aware that these are 2 different entities that are looking to the town for change.
Correct. I believe the reason why it was brought up was the fact that we wanted to ensure that it wasn't north of Hope selling to south of Hope, on paper, only a development right, which would not work.
No.
And so we just making sure, doing our due diligence, if you
It's
will.
being done properly.
And what was that?
It's being done properly.
Okay.
From our pre-planning meeting, we thought we would have time to provide you with opportunities of what that land north of Hope could look like. And, that was only about 3 weeks ago, and we had an engineer, and it takes time. And we don't want to bring just sketches to you. We want to bring something that's important. And that's why we have invested not only time and money into having the engineering company provide us with, different opportunities. That was what was requested at the pre-planning meeting, and now we're here.
No, I don't remember it that way.
You weren't at the pre-planning meeting.
Oh, that pre-planning meeting? I was.
Well, that was at the plan commission. That's what it was last time, was if you want to go ahead and get some,
Bring some stuff in.
bring some
Yeah,
stuff.
but we
in.
didn't state it had to be full engineering plans,
No,
and no engineers had to be hired.
But you didn't state that there's a specific timeline of when you needed this to be done.
Well,
So that's why we wanted to bring you what it would look like on the north side that was well thought out and would look well. Because I think what we want to do well for the township is thinking about individuals that have been in the township for my family since 1870, not just the existing individuals that live in the township now. So when we look at it and think about the good of the township, to me, it's very difficult to hear that when people live in the town for 2, 5, 10, 20 years, and they're telling that we need to look at the good of the township when we're not thinking about what has been done by the members of the township for the past 156 years. And that is completely ignored because you want to have that land set aside and it be preservation and conserved when we have 165 acres that is preserved and conserved and will never be touched.
and my point was, it's a drumline. It's not gonna ever be produced again. That was one. To the reference of how many years your family has been here, that's great. But can you look at me and tell me how many years my family's been here?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm saying, as a individual of a family who's been in this township
Yeah.
for that long, I think it's important to think about the legacy and the history of individuals who've been in the town for as long as our family has been. That's all I'm stating. I'm not saying anything about your family.
Okay.
I'm saying, I don't know your family nor your history. I just think that it's important to think about not just now, but the past and the people that have made the town what it is, not just the people that are here now. That's the part that I think is very difficult because, as I stated last time, if we say it's not personal, it's hard it not to be, because the township is great because of the people. And if the people aren't great, then the town's not great. So let's look at who has been here in the town consistently for 156 years. And I don't think that can be ignored. And a drumlin, it's a drumlin, but let's look at all the other areas that have been developed in this town.
Nearby too.
Exactly. It's really difficult to sit here and say, well, this is a beautiful drumlin, so let's just set it aside, when we've got the people who have developed all around in different beautiful areas that have been approved. I'd like to understand how that fits to the question that was brought up earlier, to the goals and the benefits of the town that Mr. Roffers created in the packet. Like, that's what we should be referencing back to, because that's what creates why the town of Cottage Grove, it is what it is, and it has the people that are here. And that's why I'm here. And if my dad and my uncle and my relatives before them weren't going to be positive members of this town, then I don't think this town would be as positive as a place to be. My grandfather owned, different stores here in Cottage Grove. Like, that's the good part of the town. It's not just the present people who live in the town and what they want. I mean, that's what makes up a good, but you go to a brand new subdivision in a brand new city. Like, what's the history there? There is no. You don't know what it's gonna be like. We know what it's like because of the people that have lived here before. And that's why there should be understanding and deference to people that have lived here and now would like to do something with the land that they've had in their family. And do it in a way with time, patience, and understanding that we are working to provide you with the best draft that we can. So you understand that this is something that we're taking very seriously. We're not coming in with just a napkin and a scratch on what we think this should occur.
Your father and whatever other relatives of the Whitty family who have been in the town for that 150 plus years were excellent stewards of the land. That's why that area up above where you want to develop is in the shape that it's in, because it was protected, it was nurtured, it was loved, for lack of a better word. Why would you, after 150 years, want to change that and throw a bunch of houses up there and ruin what your father has protected for all that time?
Would you like me to, I just want to know, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I mean, it's in conjunction or adjacent to the land that your dad entered into the agreement with the feds for, the protection.
But I think that's what hits it on the head, right? Like, my father and my uncle made a decision. They had over 200 acres and they entered into an agreement, not for 10 years, not for 20 years, for eternity, that 160 plus acres can never be utilized, built on, damaged, anything. And nothing can be done with it. Nothing. But there are still 33 acres that I believe will not be destroyed or damaged, because that's not the way we are going to approach it. Just like that's not the way we have approached all of our planning throughout this process. And I personally don't believe putting beautiful homes on the backside of the hill or on the front side overlooking the pond destroys the beauty of a drumlin that has corn on it. And I think that if my dad and my uncle didn't do anything regarding the environment and the land, then I could say, okay, well, yeah, I mean, they didn't do really anything. So let's keep that 33 acres as beautiful as it is. But they gave up a large chunk of land that can never be done with anything. And I feel like that is overlooked and unappreciated, because, I mean, you can go out there and walk it. It's 160 plus acres that nobody touches. Deer are running around, turkey are running around, and there's nothing. There's no homes. There's no, like sheds. We followed the rules of the wetlands. There's 33 acres that we believe we could make into a beautiful area for people to live and enjoy the views that my parents like, I'm trying to not get, have my voice change tone, but I just feel that if I was coming to you as a member of my family who's been here of the township for 156 years, and they didn't do anything, and 33 years, I'm just asking for the 33 acres so I can, make it into a bunch of homes up there, I'd say, you know what, yeah, like, shove me out the door. But I think when you look at the big picture of the Whitty family farm, my dad and my uncle made the decision where they didn't have to. Because if you go to the northwest part of the wetlands, that's neighboring, I believe, is it Gunder's, another farmer? You can look, his egg goes right in across our border, and we could have continued to make that into ag, but it was allowed to be in wetlands. So we've given the town of Cottage Grove 160 plus acres of nature, of beauty. I mean, and now you're gonna say you can't even use 33 acres? So again, I would love to like engage in conversation besides me just talk, because I'm really struggling to understand, what does a member of a town who wants to be like proud of the town that their family has lived in feel when the town board is saying, sorry, you've given up 163 acres you can't do anything with, and now we like your drumlin, so we're not going to let you do anything with the 33 acres either. I mean, what does that say to the rest of the individuals who live in this town?
So was the low ground farmed at one time?
Oh, yes.
Except for the pond. The
Yeah.
whole thing was farmed. And so I think the big thing people have to understand is that things are changing. The weather's changing, the economy's changing, the demand's changing. The family has to figure out, or the owners of the LLC have to figure out how they're gonna help pay the taxes on this stuff. They could conceptually come up with a design on these 33 acres that the owners of that 33 are gonna help pay for the taxes of the remainder of the 165 over time, so that you guys don't have to pay for it. We don't know what that could be. Could be something really cool, and we don't know. And so to limit that just because of a desire, I think is unfair economically to the owners of that entity. And they would have to come up with all the requirements of that 33 acres to do something, and it's available. It's not non-buildable. It is for something. And so that should be considered, that they have to help pay for the taxes and the upkeep on this thing. So that might have the developer, I'm going to use that word loosely, of that parcel would be looked upon to help pay for those costs over time. And those owners of that property would be the ones to do that. It may not be you guys after a while, and who knows what.
And I gotta be honest, like, we're like, David and I have our ideas on how we could make the 33 acres be a beautiful area to buy for the buyer, a beautiful place to continue to have homes. I mean, but we are a little bit stuck on like, how do we maintain the 165 acres in a way that people that do purchase homes and build, it remains as beautiful as it is.
And one of the ideas early on, but if you remember this, we used to advocate the conservation subdivisions. And this would be an ideal situation for that, in whatever way they could do that. Because somebody's got to help pay for the maintenance and the continuation of those 165 acres.
So explain to me the 165 acres of what you're talking about, maintenance.
I mean, if you look at do you have the map there? I mean, pretty much just as it's described, it's a finger. It's 33.
That's not the question.
No, I know, I'm getting to that.
Okay, I'll let him go. Okay.
The only part of the woody land north of Hope Road that isn't to some degree untouchable is that 33 acres of farmland.
Yep.
Everything else that surrounds it is wetlands, ponds, some forests. And if you drive or walk it, there you'll see posts all around that specify, like, on this side is woody land, On this side is Whitty land, but it's wetlands, so you can't do anything. Door Creek runs through it. It's immense, you know, and that's what I think is so special about the land, is that all of that has been preserved, and it's not just like 5 years ago. My dad and my uncle entered into this in 2000. So for 26 years, we as a family have been paying the taxes for the town of Cottage Grove and everyone else on 163 acres that we can't do anything with. Now we've rented out the farmland when our last farmer, Zach Lever, couldn't keep up with his dairy herd and had to leave, unfortunately, because he was a nice guy. We liked him, and you know, he just got in over his head. But otherwise, you know, we've been, you know, that was land that maybe Zach would have go hunting or his friends would go hunting in, but we're not hunters, you know, and so the rest of it, I guess, to answer your question, is just it's untouchable, and that's why, you know, it's a blessing for the town. It's a blessing for, I think, the county, because you know, again, I mean, nothing can ever be done, but I appreciate what you said, Mr. New. Like, there is a point where, you know, if the 33 acres can't be moved forward in a development manner, then what do we do overall? Because we've had, in the last 6 or 7 years, we've been lucky enough to have Kendall Uphoff rent the farmland from us, which is just enough to cover the property taxes every year. And that's really all we have been wanting to do, is cover the property taxes, so we didn't have to take that money out of my parents' accounts, because we need the money for my mom to pay for the heritage and the assisted living. So now we're at a place where it's like, okay, we're here to ask for the neighborhood development change, so we are able to move forward on that. And
If we had time to develop something that you think is really out of sight, 'cause that's what we're aiming to do. We've seen one stupid proposal already on development, but we're looking at doing something that is good, that has a lot of value to the township, and there's nothing wrong with people who can afford nice houses. So.
The 33 acres, in 2 years, I would be willing to look at it again, giving you time to talk to NRCS or the USDA to see if they say you have development rights. Because I think that is a question that I have from the document that was signed.
yeah,
That those development rights,
but with
do
or
they
with-
exist
with
with
or without
you
those-
or not?
with or without those RDUs that you're describing, the land can still be, we can still create a plan and it still can be developed. These are, again, that's why with Mr. Roffer's discussion or his overview, these are two completely different issues. It's a matter of finances. It's a matter about, do you purchase another RDU from another individual and bring that over? Or are you able to work through legally and get
Let me
your
continue
RDU?
then.
I apologize.
I would look at it in 2 years, giving you time to talk to NRCS, USDA or whoever, and it would give Mark or Kim, someone time to find out where we are with farmland preservation, what our percentage is, how many participants do we have in the township that are partaking of it? Because I think that would help us decide if we want to worry about getting too close to that 80%, or is it something we don't have to worry about by taking it out of farmland preservation and putting it in neighborhood development? That's where I am with the
Why-
33 acres.
Normally, or my understanding is that a lot of these changes to the comprehensive plan take 2 or 3 or 4 months, and usually it's figured out one way or another by somewhere in August. We don't need that much time to answer all these questions. I believe there is a form that is filled out that talks every year, you know this, Kim, that says to the county or the state or wherever it is, how many acres came out of the farmland preservation land. And so it's really, there's gonna be somebody up at county who looks up something and tells you right away on that level. In terms of the legal aspect, that's a legal thing. That'll get resolved. We know where that's really gonna go. We don't really wanna wait 2 years. We don't. This is a good economy for getting things like this done now. And it makes sense to move forward now. What we'd like is the time to develop the ideas, do all the background, so you can make a good and informed decision.
The farmland preservation issue, just to try to be clear about it. The state has a rule that says for a town that's a farmland preservation town, and Cottage Grove is one of them. For all the areas that are planned for farmland preservation, not more than 20% should be zoned in a non-farmland preservation zoning district. If more, or if we want to look at it a different way,
Zone
at
is
least
the key word.
80% needs to be zoned FP1 or FP35 of all the lands that are planned for farmland preservation in the town's comprehensive plan on the map that's behind Tom over there. The town has been relatively close to that 80% threshold. We're not below it right now. But every time there is land that's either taken out of the farmland preservation area, you're affecting the denominator in that case that impacts that 80% rule. So we have not gotten the information from the county. This is the same county staff that's understaffed to say where we're at. And for me to tell you, if you pulled 33 acres out of farmland preservation, what would that mean? Well, how much can we pull out without jeopardizing that? I can't answer that now, and I'm not sure when we'll get that from the county, in part because we did some work on the comprehensive plan two years ago. Excuse me, to try to improve the situation. In other words, to try to get that close to 80% number, closer to 90%. The county doesn't yet have our plan basically in their system to be able to tell us what impact that work we did when we updated the plan 2 years ago has meant. So it could be, thank you. It could be, it could be that the percentage has gotten better, appreciably better, to be direct about it, but I just don't know at the present time.
So how many acres are in a township, FP1 or FP35? 40,000 acres or?
I wouldn't even want to guess.
Yeah, there's a boatload of acres in this township. Even after you subtract out the village that's in the township. Substantial.
And as far as how quickly you want to move with comprehensive plan amendments, I mean, we have the town in this amendment process, we have moved fairly quickly in the past. You know, we've been done in June or July. It has, and Kim knows, dragged out until December or January. You know, 9 months later. So it's really up to you how long you want this to take. I don't think we have anything else like of the amendments that are urgent that says, well, you know, we need to move fast here. So it's really up to you to decide whether, you know, you want to say, hey, let's let this brew a little bit. Let's see how the development to the south goes in terms of the process and how it sells over the next, you know, year or so. Or if you're comfortable, you know, allowing them to move at a quicker pace and pushing off the comprehensive plan amendments for this cycle for 4, 5, 6 months to allow that discussion on this woody 33 acres to evolve.
We had 90 days. It's a great plan to come up with something, just not 3 weeks.
We had a drone come today to the north side, FH Whitty and Sons, to take obviously video of the entire property as well as pictures. So I did provide 10 pictures because you only can send so many in an email, and a video to Kim. I have obviously many more, but we are like, that was just an extra thing we wanted to do because we talked about, we still are more than welcome to host, you know, Mr. Eichorf, if you wanted to come to see the wetlands, you know, I could drive you around. I mean, it's immense. And
So the magic number was 56.
56.
How many years we've lived here? 56 years.
You?
Okay.
And the point about it is that I've driven past your family's property for years. When my father would go to farm fleet, we go by there. So I've watched the progression of the wetlands. I know what it's like. And so that's what I just wanted to say, is that I do know what it's like. It's not that I think it's, you know, and that's what I was looking up, is to see how much you paid in tax and stuff like that.
Well, I hope you know, I wasn't directing anybody's how long they've been in
No,
the town.
no,
I don't know
no,
anybody,
no.
how long they've been in the town.
No,
I
no,
was
that's
just
fine.
stating my own personal.
I understand. There's a lot of, many other families, large landholders have been in the area for many years, so. But no, I just thought, that's what the number was, so no worries.
So I just saying that, you know, the drone is just another opportunity to see if you have any questions. Again, as David said, we are doing everything we can to get everything taken care of for obviously not just our benefit, but so you're not waiting on things.
One of the things that I'm advising for a comprehensive plan amendment, it's kind of funny, but to guide us for future amendments is when someone is proposing to change the designation in the plan, that during the plan amendment process, and if you think it kind of at least passes an initial muster, that there be some neighbor notice, an opportunity for neighbors to comment on the plan amendment. Otherwise, what can happen, let's not pick on the Dave's proposal here. Otherwise, what can happen is 40, 60 acres gets designated in a fairly quiet way, redesignated. And then all of a sudden, there's a rezoning proposal a year or two later, and the neighbors say, how the hell did this happen? This was a farm, this is a farmland preservation area. I'd rather have, no one wants people yelling at them, but I'd rather have people yelling when you can make a difference and have an influence. And so, I would propose if you support their proposal, is that we allow the neighbors around there to have a chance to say, hey, what do you got in mind at this front end, rather than a little bit too far into
I
the
have with that
process.
though is they're gonna go off in la la land and, worry about the worst things possible and have no basis for it.
Yeah, they did that on the land between Hope and Whittywood.
And that's gonna start again.
Yeah.
And
when the
So-
proposal comes in. the
Buy it
neighbors-
if you don't want it developed.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Exactly.
I'm not saying,
Mostly
No,
the
no.
people that
you under,
built
but
on Wittywood Lane.
The four families that built on
I
Wittywood
got
Lane
mine, now it's.
were
Nobody
the,
else gets theirs.
the four families on Wittywood Lane, at least two were the most vocal in 2021. But they were fine buying the land from my father and my uncle. And they've enjoyed that view of
Yep.
the drumlin and the farmhouses for the last 20 some years.
Really didn't think that was ever gonna get developed.
And I would say we have communicated with all four families
They do their.
on Wittywood Lane.
Wittywood.
We communicated with the Gaussman family, which is just east of our land. We have provided them with every handout and map
2 years.
with them. We have provided our email address, phone numbers. We have heard from
See how
the
it
family
goes.
that's the farthest west and the farthest east on Wittywood. We have not heard from the two families from the middle on Wittywood. One of those families was one of the very loud families, which again, that everyone has a right to speak, but they were very loud in 2021. We're surprised that at least we didn't hear something, whether it was to us or here, but we haven't heard anything.
We are being very
Residents here.
affirmative in interacting with the neighbors like you should. We all know it's extremely upsetting when somebody comes in, how long have I been doing this? That it's extremely upsetting when somebody screws around with your neighborhood. Well, so you let people know, encourage the dialogue. We would have no problem having a neighborhood meeting. We think that this 33 acres on the north side is so isolated from everything else due to the 160 plus acres of wetland that nobody's gonna say anything other than we'd like to live there or we'd like our daughter and son-in-law to move there. We think this is gonna be a winner and that some of the neighbors are gonna say, maybe we'll end up there. This is something special for this end of the county, we believe. We give us 90 days to work on it.
Don Dummer, who bought my Uncle Phil's home, already has his two children looking in the woods for lots, and he's just waiting. He keeps Facebook messaging me, when will you know the price? You know, and I say, that's a ways away. We've got to get through a lot of hoops, but there is interest. And again, it's good. It's good interest from people who have lived in the town and now their kids want to live in the town. I think that's a good thing.
I'd be interested to see your conceptual kind of, how's it gonna fit in?
Sure.
So it doesn't look like what Steve was saying, just a great big looking McMansion on top of the hill,
No,
make it look like it belongs there.
But you understand, they gotta go through a bunch of engineering with that, and if, I mean, do you want them to go through a bunch of engineering?
Well, at some point. you
It's their
gotta do
choice.
it.
I mean, they do their engineering now, or they do their engineering 2 years, or whenever it actually gets approved. At least they do some engineering, some design now. You have an idea that can come to us and we see what you got. Your neighbors will see what you got. You'll have a better price point, or maybe you can sell your lots. I don't know. But the bottom line is you already have a neighborhood development section that you're gonna maybe move on here. Let's get that one done before this one goes.
That's,
You know, and I know you want to go sooner than later, but you got one that you've been sitting on for a while. Let's get that one done.
And I guess I would not classify the proposal as being isolated. I mean, it's not like you're off where nobody can see you or anything else like that. Part of the draw in that property area is to be able to overlook all of the land that we've all talked about and everything, plus the fact people driving by on the road are gonna, oh, look at that kind of thing. So I'm only addressing the word isolated. That's my only thing.
it's not like Scarstondale is pretty visible. When you're on 12 and 18, you can see Scarstondale. This won't be like that. Not that there's anything wrong. Those are nice people. They're very happy living there. I know some of them. But this will be different because there's the lay of the land. And again, you guys should really schedule a site visit to see how incredible it'll be.
If you're at the finger, the farther northernmost point, you can't even see the silos. When you go over the second hill, you can't see Hope Road or any of the homes, nor can anyone on Hope Road or on Whittywood Lane see the northernmost tip and along the northern east side and along the tree ridge. It is only the front part, and if you're thinking we're looking at having like a 8 or 12 homes on that front section, that's not our intention. We're looking at specifically looking at homes that could, enjoy the view of the pond, but the majority of the homes won't even see Hope Road. I mean, that's where the topography and going and seeing it is so different than looking at a map or thinking because you drive by it and you see it looks up. There's so much land besides that initial vector that looks just like up, because really it's a couple things. I'm amazed by it. I took my wife up there today and I told her, I said, look back. I said, you can't even see the silos. We went farther. Now look, you can't see anyone and no one can see us. So that's the beauty. And then you go to the farthest north or northwest part, and then your view is of all the wetlands and there's nothing there, and that's how it's been preserved for the last 26 years.
The one point I want to make is if we make them wait 2 years and they get this other development done, are they shooting themselves in the foot by having more people worried about the view that they're gonna destroy?
That's part of development though.
No, I've been around long enough that you put that information out there right away. Here comes, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna buy number 6 in the flatlands, and there'll be something to the north eventually. You put all those future plans right in, so you don't have that. It's just standard good neighborhood thinking that you let people know so they can make their choice. Literally on the other side of Door Creek in Hope Road is the city of Madison. It's just remarkable when I saw that. And past that is all the solar panels. Damnedest thing. But there are going to be people, let everybody know. It's not like we gotta worry that there aren't gonna be people that want to live there. We'll be able to do all this stuff right up front and give the future. But how about 90 days, and then you can get us out of your hair one way or another.
So where are we at in the sheet? We did.
Well,
We haven't done.
Number one on
We still haven't bought the land.
I would say yes, go down through. And do you want a motion or do you want a consensus? And then it's up to you, gentlemen.
A motion on each number?
Correct. I mean, some of these are, for the most part, it's gonna go rather
Once we get
quickly
past this one,
comparatively.
Yeah.
This
Is what you're saying.
what's that?
Get through this one, it's gonna go pretty quick.
It's gonna go more quickly. I'm not gonna use the word pretty in front of it, but just more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a motion on whether to add it into, they're added to the plan per their request.
Correct.
Well, give them 90 days.
Or that could be your
Use the
motion.
90 days and worry about it then.
Yeah, and that,
Well, why is it, I guess.
So they're asking for 90 days, so basically that kicks our comprehensive plan amendment out 90 days, correct?
Right,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to
So-
move forward with this other stuff until you know what you're gonna do with this.
Right.
But now here, in 90 days, you're gonna go do a bunch of nice plans, engineering.
It's fine with us.
And
The
we're
part
gonna,
about it is, if we get thinking about it, we go, no, I don't know if we really think this is a great idea, and you invest all this money into it, it is your money, it is your idea. But there's no guarantee even when they come
There's
back.
no guarantee. We aren't asking for any kind of predetermination.
Just
We're
full
saying,
reimbursement.
give us the 90 days and let us have at it. And we'll wow you.
Well, I'm in with what's been talked about here. I'll make a motion that number 1, number 2, is it number 3? No, number 1 and 2 are not added into the plan at this time for neighborhood development. No 90 days. That's my motion.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Troy, seconded by Chris, not to add the 33 acres of the Woody Farm north of Hope Road into the neighborhood development area from ag preservation.
One of the reasons being finish off this development, the one that they have going down in Woodywood. Get that done. Come back 2 years.
Well, how far back does that push their ability to move forward on the other 30 acres? And if we do that,
2 years.
2 years,
Yes.
that would be my biggest issue with it.
Me too. Then how far back?
You know, let them capitalize on what they got there now.
Well, that,
Yeah, you got Kennedy Hills
Hmm?
being built, Kennedy. That subdivision's going at 60 some lots.
Mhm.
And they're gonna add 10 more.
we're just talking about the
Coming out of
hillside.
farmland preservation.
We're just talking about the
No.
hillside. That's,
So I mean, that's the difference right there.
okay, wait a minute. The neighborhood, the stuff on Woodywood is already in the plan, correct?
Correct,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, that is,
That's gonna happen as soon as they do their,
We're expecting that will go online in the month of September.
okay,
That by online meaning that
Okay.
we need 2 weeks worth of building. I'm assuming you guys are gonna want something done with the cul-de-sac, and we're gonna have stormwater, and really that's it.
and your retention.
And that should be starting, we're tracking that work to be done in the month of September. It's a good time to do things. And so that will be online. You know, when the first phase of Kennedy Hills went on, we sold 13 lots between Christmas of 2020 and April 15th. We closed them in 2021, 13 of them in that 4 months. This is a different thing than Kennedy Hills, because I know about that one. This is different. This is just 100 yards and you're in Madison. It is so close. And it's the lots, instead of 30,000 square feet, are going to be about 1.3 acres, and that's a different thing. And there's only 10 of them, 4 of which are in the woods. They're just gonna go. So we don't need a lot of time.
all right, we have a motion and a second not to allow the northern side of the Woody Farm, 33 acres, into neighborhood development. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
How many we have?
3,
3?
for how many, 4? I'm an aye.
Okay,
was an I.
I was an aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion failed.
Motion failed. New motion.
Don't need a motion to do something.
Mhm.
Well, what's the opposite of that motion then? To let them proceed with it, or
To
what do
move
we
it
have
to
to do?
neighborhood development or give them 90 days?
I don't give them 90 days. That sounds like what they're looking for, right?
Give us 90 days and then have your vote, having good information. That's reasonable.
I mean, I feel like we're lacking a lot of information. That 80% number is the biggest one.
We should have that by then.
You know, why can't we get that? That seems,
Did you read in the book?
I don't want to prolong the meeting. I could take 15 minutes and explain why, but I don't.
yeah, no, I don't, I really don't want to know why.
In our book, on the backside, when it talks to neighborhood development, there are some criteria. I didn't know if anybody saw that.
I probably looked through it, but
I'm waiting for a motion.
well, I would make a motion to do whatever we have to do to give them the 90 days they're asking for. I don't know what that motion is. but
Motion to postpone for 90 days.
There you go, if that's what it is.
That's fine.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to postpone the decision on the north side of Woody Wood and 33 acres for 90 days. Let's see. Rather than saying 90 days, let's see, you've got May, June. Be back here by the July
Meeting.
Plan Commission meeting, because that might,
Yes.
by the July Plan Commission.
Perfect.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There's just one opposed,
What's that?
just one opposed.
Think so.
Thank you, folks.
Yes, thank you.
Number two, at this point in time, the town has already officially said we're not getting involved with the discussions that the Woodies are having with the county and or the feds.
Yeah, kind of cut to the chase. I understand from Dave that he is working with an attorney to work with the county to try to get a different determination on a number of our RDUs.
Yeah,
So I don't think there's anything that town has to do within its
that's what I
plan,
was gonna get at.
unless there's some outcome from that county process that suggests a town plan amendment.
Okay,
Yeah, wait, I don't care what the county says at this point. I want to know what NCRS says.
That's for the attorneys to find out.
USDA.
Let the attorneys duke it out.
They're the ones that worked on this agreement. They know what
But none of that really matters anyways. The only people that matters to is him. He's gonna have to buy those RDUs if they don't already have them.
Yeah.
Now, the issue is how much did they forgo or give up to the NRCS?
when they
And that-
sold.
And that could be subject to interpretation, because there's different ways to look at those. If you sell an RDU first and then an RCS easement, that's fine. Why wouldn't there be symmetry the other way? If you give up an NRCS easement and then sell an RDU, why isn't that okay?
Because they
That's the
put it
question.
in black and white.
Not necessarily, no.
What's it saying? What it said, there was the easement or the sold development rights. It's the sold development rights.
It doesn't mention it.
Okay.
It's silent. So it's a subject to
It lists
interpretation.
what they still have. Three things listed.
okay. Next item, number three, GT Rentals. As Mark said, they're off the table. Number four, Bertman, actually, we talked 4 and 5. Unfortunately, the town isn't set up to allow for traffic calming or bike and pedestrian facilities and the like. And I don't know that the township would be a good transit spot regardless, I think the village would obviously be more appropriate, so I would like to go on record and thank them for asking, but,
Too bad.
yeah, I'm not gonna say ever too bad. Somebody felt strongly enough to approach us on it, and we looked at it thoughtfully, and it just isn't gonna fit, unfortunately.
Back quickly to the data centers thing, you all know there's a county data center committee. That
Correct.
committee may come up with recommendations. Those recommendations, maybe town should put something in their plan to say yay or nay. But if anything, we should wait until that committee finishes its work.
Number 6.
6 is a kind of a little pack of details. It's the town has a policy that says specifically residentially zoned parcels which existed prior to January 1st, 1981 are eligible for home construction and even land division without having an RDU requirement. There's other shorthand language in the plan that I wrote that said legally created lots zoned residential prior to January 1st, 1981. It tries to communicate the same thing, but it's not the same because the reality is that there were no residentially zoned lots on January 1st, 1981. So what I would propose to do and would have ready by the July meeting would be to have some language just to clarify it so it always referred to residentially zoned parcels. They're now residentially zoned, which existed prior to January 1st, 1981, which is different than saying legally created lots zoned residential prior to 1981.
So they were used residentially, but not necessarily zoned.
Not zoned because there was nothing
There
zoned
wasn't.
residentially in 1981. So it's a technical change just to clean up the plan. No substance intended. That's all of 6. So I mean, if you're cool, what I propose is to amend the policy so they don't suggest there were residentially zoned lots in 1981 and to make sure that everything that do a search and replace everything internally is consistent.
Number 8,
7.
or 7, sorry.
Pure typo cleanup. We went to 10-1. I forgot one place to change 10-1.
Number 8. We designate the ag preservation area those planned neighborhood development areas and ag transition areas with little or no development interest or prospects.
I think this was discussed at your last meeting that I did not attend. And I think the idea is take a hard look at all the areas that are colored gold on the map that aren't developed yet and to identify whether it makes sense to have them colored gold. We do have a little time if you want to now. We could look closer at that. Or kick that down the road.
Do it down the road.
What's that?
When you do it down the road, you're gonna have to have people come in or send them a notice so that they know.
That would absolutely be part of it because some of them are kind of banking on it, even if they're sitting on the land.
Put that to the side.
28?
Huh?
In 28?
Absolutely. Number 9, quarter-mile from the village of Cottage Grove.
Yeah, I heard your discussion and I I understand where there might have been confusion because the Kennedy Hills was allowed to go forward without an RDU, even though just a sliver of it was. But then I believe in 2024, we corrected that. In other words, it reads, I think on the map and in the plan text that you have to have a majority of your parcel in within a quarter mile before you can qualify without an RDU.
What would the majority be? What was a number, 45% of the parcel? Because the parcel.
50.1.
51, yeah, anything over 50 would.
Yeah.
That was always
So
majority.
I wasn't, maybe I missed something, but
And maybe it wouldn't have to be that much, but more than just that little,
Right.
because that was kind of a technicality that.
yeah. Right now, I think the
But I
whole
thought we
plan
looked-
says majority.
I
But
thought we looked at one time and there's not that much, how many properties would that even affect? Maybe one or two? I don't
yeah,
know.
it's a handful, Mark.
Other was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
here it is.
Enough that we,
Majority of the tax parcel is within a quarter mile of the village of Cottage Grove as of July 2022.
Yeah, and again, I think we changed that in response to the sort of the AHA with Kennedy Hills, and Kennedy Hills was allowed to go forward as the way it was written before 2024. But we changed it. So, I mean, we have, again, 90 days to,
Is it on the
Try to
maps?
find out,
Is it
but-
on the map somewhere too, did you say?
it's on the map, and I think it reads the same on the future land use map. So I was just a little, so it's note, the third note or the second note, there it is. If a majority is designated. So I think it pretty much says the same thing everywhere.
It doesn't seem like Kennedy Hills, that was that long ago.
Yeah, it was probably a determination was made.
Right at the, it must have been close, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So 9's already done.
I think 9 is done.
Number 10, institute a similar quarter mile RDU policy with the village of McFarland.
I took a look at that, and it's just, the land is not really the same down there as it is around the village of Cottage Grove. If you look to the east, it's low and wet and probably not appropriate for a neighborhood development area to designate. To the north, that's in your, it's confusing as hell, but that's in your Madison agreement area where you're legally bound not to approve any more than 1 or 2 lots. I forget
Correct.
what the thing is. And so, I don't know how practically it could be done the way it is around the village of Cottage Grove.
The interstate probably doesn't help. They have, trying to develop down there.
No, and because of the fact it's within our agreement with the city of Madison, if it's that close to McFarland, chances are they're gonna want to annex because McFarland's moving east, every time it turn around, you see there's another annexation request on there.
Coming harder than Madison.
Wasn't there some preliminary discussions between Madison and McFarland for
Yes.
you guys trying to weasel your way into that, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I am kind of surprised at that due to the fact that Madison and McFarland were at such odds with
Yeah, they went to court.
that whole,
Yeah, McFarland won. So I don't know, I mean,
I don't know if it's quite right yet.
there has been talk and a complaint about, knocking on McFarland's door and saying, hey, we're here too, what's up? I don't know if that's been thought about or talked about or pursued at all.
No, we have not talked about it.
Happy to help.
Okay.
I don't know what influence we can have or not.
What's your preference, gentlemen? In or out?
To talk with McFarland?
Yeah, to do the quarter mile.
Well, I don't know if it's worth it, like you said, it's part of its wetlands down that way. With the landfill expanding to the
by there too,
You smell the dump.
and, yeah, so I don't know how much
Yeah.
property down there is really attainable property.
Yeah, technically the stuff north of Sigel is, but that's also in your Madison agreement where these are specifically excluded from promoting subdivisions. So,
So it doesn't matter. How big of
Right
a
now,
piece
it
would we-
doesn't be great.
How
now,
big of a piece would we have in there? Just a little smidge.
yeah, well, you have the plan, you have that plan map up. Yeah. So I don't know if you could zoom.
I got it right here.
So. Yeah, so here's McFarland, and McFarland goes right up to the Door Creek, and then everything you see in the stipple pattern is
Marsh.
like the Whitty land. And then lands to the north of McFarland, you see this olive line, that's the boundary agreement line between the town of Cottage Grove and the city of Madison. And there's a specific restriction, I think it's only two lots per parcel or something like that.
Divide once, or, yeah.
So, and then to the east, I suppose there's a little sliver that's outside of a row of 5 lots. Designated as I suppose for neighborhood development allowance. That to block that avenue for McFarland's growth. So yeah, I shouldn't say there's no opportunity, but
It's already partially developed, though.
Well, we could preemptively leave it in then in the event that something rears its head and not gonna do any harm.
No, that's fine. Leave it in.
No action on it.
What's that?
No action on it right now.
Okay. Mark? Action or no action? We've got Tom.
Is there any reason to?
And all those little squares in that area you're mentioning are already lots, right?
yeah.
So there's really no room for any major other development, subdivision development in there unless they redevelop all that, right?
Correct. I mean, it's conceivable that, like that landowners here could get enough interest to pull in land in between. Annex it. So, I mean, I don't want to suggest to you there's no avenue for McFarland to grow, because there certainly is. I just don't.
But I mean, for us to do something to incentivize neighborhood development, there's not much room for it to take place.
There is not a ton.
Pull it.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Add substantial criteria and public neighbor notice compliance with plan amendment request.
I touched on this early, county staff, Majid at the county suggested, hey, well, what basis do you guys use to decide whether someone should get a comp plan amendment? So we don't really have anything written in the plan that says how we're gonna consider amendment requests. So, I touched on this first is, should we give neighboring property owners some ability to come and hear what the proposal is? Beyond that, and this could be one or the other or both, should there be a checklist basically in the plan that says, hey, when we're considering this request, is it consistent with our vision and goals? Is the plan in some way out of touch with reality. Prepared 10 years ago, the world's changed. Interest rates are, 0% or 10%, whatever it is. Are we with the plan addressing something substantive like the Whitties have proposed, or something like technical like the couple of the ones that I've proposed? That probably should matter. And then if it is a request that would change the designation on the future land use map or otherwise increase development potential of the land, maybe there's some other tests. What are the public benefits of the proposal versus the potential negative impacts, and do the benefits outweigh the negative impacts of the proposal? Is it addressing an unmet need in the community for more development or a different type of development than the town has seen? Are there other pieces of vacant developable land that could address that need that, maybe should happen first? And is the amendment request based on a specific development interest and proposal, or is it more speculative? Hey, if I can get the town to change this to neighborhood development area, the value of my land for sale just went up.
Sure.
So those kind of things could be, and those are the bullets on that last page that we could craft into an amendment to the plan that we would use to consider future amendment requests to the plan.
And take out the calendar that we have in here saying that we look at it every 2 years.
That's something different. No, this is just, what are we gonna do when we get amendments? And what's the lens that we're gonna look at these amendments through?
Right, but the county also has concerns about the frequency that we look at our comp plan.
Yes, Majid both twice said to me, and I said, we made it twice as long. So, yes, they do.
They want us to do it more often or?
No, less.
Less, okay.
Less work for them.
Quit changing your mind all the time, right?
It's less
I
work for them.
I like checklists, and I love this because I feel like so many times these discussions get lost in everybody's personal perceptions of what is best for the town and isn't, and not focused enough. And this would focus the discussions, I feel.
This would have helped a lot earlier
Yeah.
this evening.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's possible, Kim, that also have to distribute this, so when people are contemplating asking
Yes.
for an amendment, they know how the town's gonna look at it and what they're concerned about,
Yes.
If I could just, I thought what you guys did with the review period every 2 years was just totally smart. I have told 4 different municipalities in this sector of the area that this, having it every 10 years is not good. Do it like Cottage Grove Township is, review every 2 years. So I think it's right on.
Well, and using that, you evaluate your requests every 2 years. You might find you don't have one
that
passes those criteria, and you might
We
not
would
have
like to see volunteering to
an
do it.
update, but we don't have anything like that now. We're not doing anything like that now. I think that would be huge.
And this is different than when we did our total rewrite, correct? This checklist that you're talking about, or is it?
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
the points of the.
Yeah.
It would just be for every 2 years. Every 2 years,
Yeah.
you bring out the checklist. That would be used hopefully by people who are thinking about applications. And then as they actually submit applications, we compare each
Well-
proposal to the checklist.
And maybe you even sort of like the conditional use
That's what I was thinking of.
checklist at the county where they have to explain how does this benefit the town, how, whatever, some of those things that you said, maybe they have to provide some kind of narrative of how their request fits, not just check it that it does or doesn't,
Like the 8 reasons for going from ag to residential
Yeah,
or
yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
You have to have a response.
Maybe they'd have to give us the reason that the town should even think about it in the first place, and then you evaluate it in the same light, just like that. Yeah,
And for what it's worth, I I don't know if 2 years is the right term or 3 years or whatever, you could play with it. But to consider amendments all at one time is better to me than to have them randomly come at different times. I don't think you're gonna stop the pressure for people wanting to amend the plan by just saying that we don't have any 2-year cycle or 3-year cycle. It's just gonna come at kind of random
And
times.
you're gonna have you're gonna have a hard time not doing it all the time.
So I like having a regular cycle. I think having it once every 2 years is much better than once every year, because we hardly got through with the cycle. It's like Congress or something. You hardly get through with the cycle and then you're starting the next cycle.
Don't you dare compare us to them.
Have you seen other townships put in criteria like that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, not a ton, but a minority of them have. I mean, I drew some of these from those.
Could you send those to us? Sure. So just to see what someone else is thinking?
Yep.
You already got the wheel.
I
See
think
what
having
it
it,
is, right?
I think having it every 2 years, people need this, if they're really interested, they need to stay in touch and stay informed that way. Having them do another meeting of certain areas, and to me, that's why we're here. Instead of delegating it back to the population, they know we're doing it every 2 years, they should pay attention if we're making a change.
So Dave, you would not be in favor of having like a public neighbor notice requirement?
For those certain areas?
Right.
We already did, but we're amending the plan as necessary. You should stay up to date.
Yeah, the agendas it's all on the agendas. If they're interested, they can watch. That's
So
true.
criteria, yes, neighbor notice, no.
For them to attend a meeting where there's not clear ideas, because they're just not there yet, they're just gonna go off in NIMBY land. And I don't wanna pay attention to that.
Well, and by
Having a checklist is fine, but
clear criteria like that, the town is doing its due diligence to make sure that it's in the interest of the town and all those things, you know. They're not gonna be, the neighbors are not gonna necessarily always be thinking about the town as a whole.
So what you're saying is we have a 2-year cycle in which we would, the town that is, make the determination whether or not the requests from the citizenry met the criteria of the checklist. And if it didn't, we wouldn't consider it.
That's right. I mean, a lot of what I read is subjective, but at least it requires everyone to go through the same test.
Focus, yeah.
right, focus is right. And we do it every 2 years as a responsible government body, because we're in Dane County, and we have to.
Yeah, and things are
Whatever
changing.
you want, but
Things are changing here pretty quickly.
Yes.
There's pressure from all directions. I mean, if you were the town of Mazamani, I'd say probably once every 10 years is fine, because nothing's really changing. But you're not. Anyway, I see kind of at least blank stares. Let's go with the criteria. Let's not go with the public hearing, neighbor notice.
Sure.
And I'll get you some more examples. Yep. Before the 90 days, because what I'd like to do at that July meeting is to basically have, a resolution cooked up for you guys, so you could take action that night and recommend something to the board with or without the proposal.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else before the magic words?
want the magic word?
Huh?
Want the magic word?
If there's nothing else,
Move to adjourn.
motion for adjournment, is there a second? Good work, guys.
Mark it out of here. Something works every minute.
All right, so
I'm actually feeling a lot better than I was.
all those in favor say aye. Aye.
You want these back? Empty and whole?
Yeah, I can reuse them.
I got such a, I've been taking all the things I got.